Verse 5 is my life verse, if you will. Some of you might have a favorite verse. John chapter 1, verse 5 is my favorite verse. It's the verse that God used to save me. The morning that God saved me, I was still half drunk. You might refer to it as hungover. I had been partying the night before. I was a senior in college and I was just enjoying life. And I would go out and get drunk 3, 4, 7 days a week if I could, having a good time. And yet somebody started to have a conversation with me about who God was. And I was kind of interested to know more. And so I wanted to read the Bible. I began to read the Bible to figure out who exactly is this Jesus. And so I started with the New Testament. The person said, start here in the New Testament. So I started in the New Testament. But it's kind of a long book, right? And so I thought, I want to eventually get to the front, so I better read a bunch. And so I decided 6 chapters. I would read 6 chapters every night before I go to sleep. What that really meant was I would read 6 chapters before I passed out. Because I would go out to the bars, get really drunk, come home back in my dorm room around 2, 3 in the morning, open up the Bible, words are moving around as I'm still drunk, and I'm reading 6 chapters before I go to sleep. One morning, I woke up in my dorm room, probably 10:30, 11 o'clock. It was dark because my shades were closed, but there was like a little crack in the curtains. Ray of sunshine was coming through. It was just sunshine, just light. But it was one of those rays of sun. Do you remember? You ever seen one of those? Just a ray of sunshine coming through the crack in the curtains of my dorm room. I remember waking up and just laying there in my bed, still half drunk, and looking at this ray of light. And I probably looked at it for about 30 minutes. And I was just looking at almost like the shape of it, like you could see where it started and it stopped. And on one side, it was just dark, and then there was light, and there was dark, and there was light. And I don't remember where I read it necessarily at that time because I wasn't a believer yet and only been reading the Bible for a couple of months. But for 30 minutes, while I laid in my bed and looked at that sunlight, I kept thinking of this verse. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness does not overcome it. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness does not comprehend it. The light shines in the darkness. And it was at that moment that I realized I'm darkness. And there's no light in me. None. And unless God shines the light of his life in my heart, I would end up in hell, and I would go there forever, and God would be just in sending me there. And I'm still drunk, hungover. But at that moment, the power of God's Spirit began to work in my life to illuminate me to the beauty of this truth that I had been reading while drunk, and God working, because his word is sharp and powerful. And that was the morning he saved me, where I fell out of bed, got on my knees right there in my dorm room and repented of my sins, trusted in Jesus Christ. I don't want the world anymore. God, I want you. That's my verse. Light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it.